Would you join me, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Holland?
Yes.
Linnaeus? Vaughn?
Yes.
Hill?
Yes.
Davis? Brown?
Yes.
Grover?
Yes.
Dallenbach?
Yes.
You didn't call me, did you?
I said Davis. Davis?
You don't have to call.
Okay,
I'm not
sorry.
roll call, for roll call. Okay, you're all right. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Hill, seconded by
I'm second.
Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. So we are to public comment. The only person that signed in was Brian Lau.
Some of you I know fairly well, and you probably all know me, but I've taken over as the code enforcement officer for the city. And just to kind of touch base with you, we're in the process of developing the proper forms that we need to use and the proper paperwork to make sure we start off on the right foot and everything goes smoothly. So I'm still working with that and working with the city attorney's office, trying to get that lined up so we can get going. But I want to take the opportunity, the last council meeting of every month, come in and talk to you and kind of let you know what's going on. And also, if you have anybody from your district that has made contact with you about any properties that they feel need to be looked at or issues, if you jot down that information too, you can call the office and leave a message for me, or when we're here, if you have any addresses or information, go ahead and just give it to me. I'll jot it down and I'll look at it when I get in the office in the morning. So that's kind of where we're at right now and just getting started.
We still going to act off of the complaint form off of the website?
Yes, we'll still use the citizen complaint form. If you have something out there, fill it out. Some of it is directed to, as a nuisance complaint to Officer Lau. Some of it will go to the street department,
Right.
other areas as well. So we'll continue to use that.
I've been just telling to call the police department myself. Sorry about that.
That works too.
We didn't have the clipboard back there by the window. Is there anybody out there that wanted to sign in to talk during the public forum that we didn't give you the opportunity to sign the clipboard? Now's your chance. Okay, moving on. Next item is the consent agenda. Before I read all of this, we're taking off the number 2 item, the financial statements for the month of June. Found some things in there that we need to have clarified, so that will not be part of this consent agenda. And then as I read it, I have some other dates. We only had one date for the 2 liquor license approvals, and it needs to be a span of how long that is. So I need a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the July 13th, 2015 regular meeting, the Independence Volunteer Fire Department financial statements for the month of June, the 2015 outstanding debt obligation report to be filed with the Treasurer State of Iowa by October 16th, 2015, Independence Barbecue Special Class C liquor license, including outdoor services, from August 22nd, 2015 to August 27th, 2015, home occupation permit renewal, pumpkin patch, Independence Area Chamber of Commerce Class B beer permit, includes wine coolers, from August 6, 2015 to August 11th, 2015.
I would like to point out on your dais is an updated set of minutes as well. There was on the front page a grammatical error that was corrected, and on the bottom of page 93 under report, 91, pertaining to the resolution for the curb and sidewalk. The original language stated that Chick-fil-A would not accept payments until next fiscal year, or would not agree to accept payments in the next fiscal year. In fact, his comment was they would wait until the next fiscal year for any payments. So those are the 2 changes in the minutes.
Do I I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Holland, seconded by Dallenbach. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next on my agenda is the approval of the claims. I believe that was all on your Dropbox to look at. Did anybody have any questions on that? If not, I need a motion to approve the claims for payment.
So moved.
Motion by Holland, seconded by Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next on my agenda is petitions from the public with Pete Gallmer of Independence Barbecue. Did you want to come up and talk to us, Pete?
Pete Gomer, 2174-3 Frost Avenue, Independence. Basically, we're making the same petitions as we had the past few years for street closures, for setup and tear down, and during the event of Barbecue, which will be on August 22nd this year. So we'll start setting up on that Friday morning. Saturday, the event. Sunday, we should be done probably by 1 o'clock, everything cleared out. And then, excuse me, we'll open everything up at that point. So I believe it says, dusk, but we should be done hopefully before that. But just, as I said, the camping, which I don't believe we had anybody stay over last year, but we're going to have at least one new vendor this year, so I'm not sure if they're going to stay or not. But we, have the waiver for the camping, no open fires, pretty much the standard request from previous year. So if there's anybody has any questions, I can answer those. Anybody not familiar with barbecue?
I'm looking forward to it.
Everybody better be familiar.
No samples this year for the council here?
Oh.
Well, I haven't found judges yet.
Oh, I volunteer again. That was fun. Interesting to do. Does anybody have any questions for Pete?
We
Thank you.
appreciate the city's, the help with the event, also letting us do this. We're growing, this is our 10th year, so hopefully this will be our biggest and best yet. But, we obviously can't do it without your all's help in the first place. So.
I didn't see you at Farmer's Market last Saturday giving out samples.
No, it was week before.
Week before. I missed went to the wrong one.
August 8th is the next one.
Dollar late. And
Yeah, August 8th, the next one will be down at Farmers Market.
okay. Thank you. So I need a motion to approve the Independence Barbecue Committee's 10th anniversary annual barbecue event and to waive Chapter 69 parking regulations, Section 69.08, no parking zones for closing and restricted traffic, and no parking on certain streets to allow closing, restricted, and parking on streets as identified by the committee. To waive Chapter 47 Park Regulations, Section 47.02, use of drives required to allow committee members and vendors access to the grassy areas of the Riverwalk Park, and to waive Chapter 47 Park Regulations, Section 47.06, camping to allow overnight stays at Riverwalk Park for this annual event to be held August 22nd, 2015.
Just one clarification, the overnight camping is just for vendors,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay.
Motion by Vaughn, second by Dallenbach. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Thank you. Next on my agenda is hearings for vacation and sale of 11th Avenue Northeast. I don't know why it's sale, but I need a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing.
Make a motion.
Motion by Grover, seconded by
Second.
Hill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now I need a motion to hold the public hearing when we have no objections on file.
Motion.
Motion Dallenbach,
Second.
second by Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, those opposed, motion carried. So we are in public hearing at this point. And there was nothing, we got no objections? Okay.
I did want to clarify, the notice talked about 11th Avenue Northeast from 10th till 12th. The discussion that we have had is actually on the vacation from the railroad north to 12th Street Northeast. Those are the only folks that I have talked to at this point. The public hearing is covering that entire stretch, which would also be from 10th Street Northeast to the railroad track. However, at this point, I have not talked to the property owners on either side there. That wasn't really the intent of this action tonight, or wasn't meant to be. We can still have the public hearing on it, but at this point, I have not had the opportunity to talk to either of those property owners. Gator Manufacturing, or Scott Gator, has property on both sides of 11th Avenue Northeast, north of the railroad tracks. I also have on your dais a corrected resolution. There was a couple of typos on the resolution and an erroneous legal description that we corrected. So as you look at that, I'd ask you to consider the resolution that's in front of you instead of the one that was in the packet.
I think what we should do is if we can go ahead and discuss vacating the whole thing, but once you do talk to the new property, the other property owners, let's have a new public hearing and go through the same process. That way the council can, since we only have a specific two here, they
Right.
can revisit it later, even though they may agree with it in general tonight.
Is there
Are
any
we
discussion?
we're just talking about the street that's no longer in use, aren't we, that we took the crossing out of?
Right, we removed the railroad crossing on 11th Avenue Northeast, so it is not a through street. And at this point, the only access or the only purpose of 11th Avenue Northeast from 12th Street south to the railroad track is access into Gator Manufacturing. There's no other reason to be in there. Again, they have the property on both sides. There's not a reason for us to maintain that. As a street, it doesn't go anywhere but into their parking lot.
What did we do with the street south of the railroad tracks?
Well, that's the other half of this discussion, like I said, that was posted in the public hearing. I haven't proposed doing anything with it at this point because there are two different property owners that have a potential interest in that. In other words, the street is split between two properties. On the north end, there's only one property owner. It only affects one person. It is much easier to justify or to define what we're doing and why.
Has anybody showed any interest in the south part of that?
No. And we haven't approached anybody either.
We do have one of the property owners here.
No.
Would you like to talk or bring this up? Since we're discussing it, no decision we made for that part tonight, because it's not part of the resolution, but
Leroy Green, so you're removing this from the resolution, the south
The-
half?
The south half, yes.
Oh, okay. Must be confused, and Arnie Johnson, we both thought the city had talked to us about that. Arnie Johnson owns it. But I know we've talked to Tim Donnelly, it was very informally with you at a street hearing, I think. So that probably doesn't qualify, but Arnie and I have had discussion about it, or he approached me about it. Seemed to be fully aware of it and interested in
We,
west half. Most of the street that's being driven on is on his half, which is fine.
right.
But I am interested in the other half, the east half.
And I apologize, I have not had an opportunity to connect either with Mr. Johnson or yourself to say, hey, we want to move this ahead and where are we at, and I didn't feel comfortable bringing this forward tonight and saying, we're going to vacate it, and having not had that formal conversation with you. That was my concern, Mr. Greenlee.
Well, that's fine, I'm in no hurry.
Vacate it, is that, we're not gonna close it though, we could vacate it and we'd only have to not take care of it, is that right, if we vacate it? And they'd still have access to their properties?
Yes, it's no longer a public street,
Yeah.
it's now private property.
But when we vacate it, this means we're not gonna maintain it, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So it wouldn't really affect them other than have to do their own snow removal and keeping the road up. Okay.
So are we talking about selling the north section or just giving, or what are we talking about?
Well, I had suggested that we simply vacate it, which means that it would just revert to the adjacent property owners.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know that it has to be a formal sale.
We're just putting it on the tax rolls at that point.
You can, I mean, if we,
Says
we have a duty
vacate and
to,
sale.
we have a duty to dispose of it at whatever the fair market value would be, or alternatively, at what, if there's some other benefit conferred upon us by that property owner. So, I mean, if they're trading us something or they're giving us some benefit that we can show, but we would, in the public trust, we would have to show, we would have to get whatever it's worth, or alternatively, get some value for it, some benefit from it.
Property tax benefit?
The biggest benefit is the removal of our responsibility to maintain a public street, whether it be maintenance or snow removal.
Last time we sold a short street like that was to Mr. Jensen for $500.
Yeah, I think we put some nominal value on the property under the theory that there was some benefit to the landowner by increasing the space of his lot or the size of his lot.
Correct.
And we tried to keep the nominal value reasonable, but also, and affordable, but also to show compensation that the city had for property we were disposing of. So I think we, politically, you're not required to have a number. It could be $1, but my advice is to have some nominal value that you think it's worth that increases the value of that property owner's estate, and or if there's some other benefit you get, like I don't know what it would be. That they're going to build a wall that's going to do something. I don't know what it would be, but some advantage to the taxpayer other than just getting rid of it off the doles is, I think, what you want to have in your record.
I was thinking Mr. Jensen's case, he wanted to close off that street or something because it kind of split his property, and that's why he paid
Correct.
to
He had a
do
use
that,
for
so
it.
he had use
So
for
do these
it.
people, they have a use
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, so. What are your wishes?
Well, we sort of did set precedents by selling it the last time. I guess,
We're still in the public hearing, so.
We're looking at this, though, that we came to them with the situation because this railroad came to us and said we want to close that crossing.
Right,
As soon as we took that and enforced basically the closing of the crossing and forcing the road that wasn't really needed anyway scenario on there, I'm not sure that we classify that as a precedence by comparing it to the Jensen property sale. They came to us for the, if I recall, to acquire that property. So,
we're still in public hearing. Would you like to announce yourself?
Fred Miller, 48 10th Street. I was wondering, the other, with the railroad, I haven't heard any of that concessions that they were made with the railroad, that they would put in a sidewalk across the highway part for closing that.
That was already arranged, yeah.
Yeah, what happened, is that still in place?
As far as I know, they did part of that with track itself, but I don't think we've completed the sidewalk yet.
no.
I
just the
think they.
crossing, just
The
the-
crossing,
Yeah,
yeah.
they put the crossing part in
The
when
crossing.
they replaced the tracks.
they were putting the crossing in only.
Yeah, so that's part of this
Yeah.
deal for closing, okay. So that's still in place then?
I think they put it in.
They've already done their part. We just have not completed the sidewalk that goes
They've not
across
done that
it.
yet?
Yeah, they have to
It's-
put the sidewalk across the tracks. It's sitting up there, it's all rubber. But they haven't done their part of the sidewalk yet.
Okay, that they were supposed to do the sidewalk
Yep,
itself?
They have to put the sidewalk on their property across the tracks.
Okay,
So that's still in,
Yes.
Still in play.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, great. thank you.
That's not, Tim, that's not cement, is it? It's
No,
more of
that's
a
rubber.
rubber, that's
The
what I
rubber-
thought.
I believe the rubber pads are sitting up there by the tracks, by where the old depot used to be.
Okay, thank you.
so we just need to let them know to finish it, or ask them when they're gonna finish it, or what?
Yeah, I don't know what their schedule is, yeah, it's up to them to put that up.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, I need a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
To me, it's not a street we're gonna use anymore, nothing we have any use for.
No.
If we don't take care of it, it's just gonna sit there anyway. So, I don't see asking much for $1 for it, would be the only thing I would ask for it, cause it's not gonna be up for us and we don't have to take care of it anymore if we give it to them, so.
Getting all those in public comments, or comments, okay.
Well, and the street, just some background too on the section we sold to Mr. Jensen, it was an access for the fairgrounds that we closed an access when he did approach us, so we
Yeah.
did make changes to the fairgrounds property.
I wasn't here for that, so I don't know nothing of it.
Can we ask for $1?
Yes.
Leroy, can we ask you for 50 cents then?
Two different roads,
Yeah.
two different sections of road.
Yeah, you can, I just make sure your minutes reflect that the reason why you thought that $1 was adequate consideration because of the, I think what you've been talking about, you're getting rid of a road, it accomplishes, you're part of the terms of the deal with the railroad, safety of the public, gets the property on the tax rolls. I think those are the things you've been talking about. Make sure the minutes reflect that so that 10 years from now, when we have someone else who wants a piece of property and we say it's $10,000, or they don't come back and say, well, why did this happen for $1?
And I think that lower part, we still have to check and see where the property line is as to how much it is with Leroy and how much is this with Johnson's. And that's why we don't have it as part of this resolution tonight, because we need to discuss that with you two guys. So, that will probably be on the agenda again once we get that discussion made and determined.
You did hear Leroy said we could round up.
So his would be $1.50 or what? How's that rounding? Round which way? I don't know. Are we ready to close the hearing and take a vote? Motion by Dallenbach.
Second.
Second by Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. And now I need a motion to adopt the resolution. And I believe you have a copy of the resolution in front of you that we put out tonight that only has the legal description for the section that is surrounded by gators.
And I recommend when whoever makes the motion, sets out the reasons, after they make the motion, just briefly set out the reasons why you think $1 is adequate consideration. Because we had a public hearing where that was discussed, but I think in the minutes, I want the resolution maker to reflect why they felt $1 is adequate
Okay.
when they make the motion.
Now they're all afraid to make the motion.
I know. That's what I'm worried about. But maybe you could say
They've
for
been
the
pretty
reasons.
quiet tonight as it is.
Can
How
we
about for the reasons that
plagiarize
we-
your comments?
Yeah, you could cite what I just said in earlier, but just make sure it's reflected that you feel that the benefits that we talked about are conferred upon the city by disposing of the property in that fashion.
You wanna go over those benefits one more time for me?
Yeah. You talked about, number one, you talked about getting the property in the tax rolls. Second, you talked about the railroad contract or railroad agreement you had already entered into. Third, I think it's a safety issue that's consistent with your policy to close that road to keep people from running up onto the railroad. And I'd say those 3 reasons, and I think you're safe.
That and sell it to them for $1, and I'll make that motion. That sound good?
Okay, you got that straight?
I guess the other one would be otherwise it's not a valuable, it's a worthless piece of property except to those property owners. Is the
And
other
we
reason.
just don't have to maintain it anymore, so it
Correct.
saves us
Yeah.
money.
There's 5 different reasons there. Got it.
And that's all part of your motion?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll second that motion.
And Grover will second it, and this time we do need the roll call.
Holland,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Dallenbach.
Yes.
Motion carried, thank you very much. Next on my agenda is resolution setting home occupation permit fees. I believe you have that on your Dropbox as to what those fees are.
This goes back to when the home occupation permit process was moved from the planning and zoning into the city council realm. The fee schedule did not make that transition, so it is, in essence, that section of the code says it is referenced in the code when currently it is not. So we're just doing some housekeeping here, moving the fees into our city code.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion by Hill, second by Dallenbach. Roll call, please.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Dallenbach,
Yes.
Holland.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Next on my agenda is accepting and approving acquisition of property generally located at 500 3rd Avenue Southeast. We'll need a motion to adopt the resolution vacating that. Is there any questions or
And as soon as we do this, the
discussion?
thing magically just falls to the ground and it goes green right away.
Sure.
Please. Quicker the better we get that out of there.
On both of these next two actions, I will tell you that Doug has been working with the folks to do the asbestos inspection. There is an asbestos removal concern before anything else can happen, and he's already working with them. So as quickly as it can, within reason, it will, but that has to be the first
Another
step.
fire, perhaps? Oh, darn, okay.
That's 150. Third Avenue is 150.
I'll make a motion on the resolution.
Okay, motion by Holland,
I'll second it.
second by Grover. Motion to adopt the resolution vacating that property, and roll call, please.
Vaughn,
Oh, yeah, but I was, never mind, yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Dallenbach,
Yes.
Holland.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Next one is accepting and approving acquisition of property generally located at 908 7th Avenue Northeast, and it'll be the same thing. Motion for the resolution to vacate that one, and that's also on your Dropbox. Any further discussion, or do I have a motion for that resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Motion from Brown, seconded by Hill. Roll call, please.
Hill,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Dallenbach,
Yes.
Holland,
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Next on my agenda is setting the 2016 department head and non-union salaries.
I do want to point out that there were some errors in the resolution. The corrected resolution is also in front of you. It reflects the Finance Committee's recommendations, this Library Board's recommendations, and those are both on your Dropbox as well.
This does include the two officers besides the chief that are non-bargaining unit.
Yes. Yes, this covers all department heads, non-union, full-time employees, and library employees.
You know, just a few weeks ago, we talked about the financial difficulty we're in. And now all of a sudden, a week after that, we spent $600,000 in some kind of a little program we could have got out of, and now we're giving everybody a raise. Does that seem like we're really spending our taxpayer dollar wisely and responsibly?
If you're asking me,
Oh, I'm not asking you, I'm asking the group.
Yeah, I guess I would address that as being on the finance committee. Do you want me to address it before the gentleman speaks, or?
I don't know if I can speak right now. I just wanted to point out that Randall Miller was on that twice. I don't think we want to pay him twice. I don't know if that's going to be a walk or not, but he was on the list twice.
It was corrected.
Yes,
all I had.
that was corrected, thank you.
Yeah. Like I say, I'm looking at my resolution, he's not on there twice there.
Yeah, it's on the one on the
We have a new copy
Dropbox.
that has,
One online had it.
yeah,
so
yeah.
I just wanted
And,
to see if you caught it.
and that's why we have a new one up here, if you'd like to take a look at it, because we had to clean up the one that was on the Dropbox a little bit. Because it also showed people that were hourly, not salary, and that type of thing, so, thank you though, for bringing that up.
I guess addressing Councilman Vaughn's comment, one is the Finance Committee met. We have already given raises to the bargaining unit individuals so that we felt in order to be fair to the non-bargaining, we needed to address that matter. As far as giving raises, when we were in discussion before, I think there's been some misconception that the city is broke, and the city is not broke. The problem that we dealt with in the minutes was that we passed a budget, we did a tax levy based upon certain numbers on what the effect would be on the taxpayers. When we found out the correct impact, at that point in time, we determined that was too high of an impact, that it was not fair to the residents, to the citizens paying property taxes, so that at that point in time, we met, we delayed some projects so that we took away some of that immediate impact on levy this year. But it's not because the city was broke. This would have been new tax levy. It would have been new money to the city, so it's not like we were spending money that we already had that we didn't have. It was reducing what new money we would bring in. One of the problems that a community has in doing capital improvement projects such as streets and sidewalks is that under state code, we are already maxed out at the tax levy that we can put forth. Every city in the state basically is already maxed out on the allowable tax levy. So what happens then is that in order to do those capital improvements, you have to go into debt. Now, if that makes sense, you need to take that up with your state legislators, but the only new money that we can bring in to work on sidewalks, to work on sewer plant, to work on sewer collection, to work on sidewalks, is to borrow money, pass a tax levy, which you would anyway, but then we turn around and we have to pay interest on it because we got to borrow the money. It doesn't make any sense, but in order for a community to improve itself and to maintain itself, that's where a lot of communities have had to go, is to issue debt levies. Now, again, going back, that's why we did that for our street project. Once we found out that that was too much of a burden on citizens at that point in time, we decided we were too aggressive with it at that point, and we reduced and backed off some of the projects for this fiscal year. Long story short, the city is not broke, and therefore the city can afford to give its employees a raise. One of the things we did change this year that helped give us some leeway, as there are some levies within the code that we can use to pay for example, employee benefits. We were taking that out of the general levy. We have implemented the levy that's allowed to us to pay for those benefits, which then again freed up money from the general tax levy to work on some of the other projects. That was something that is allowable for us to do. We've never done it before. So we did that to free up some of our general levy money, general property tax. But city is not broke. The city is, in fact, has quite a few $1 million sitting. We've heard that comment before. I felt bad for our previous mayor. He went through the same comments, that every time we did something, he was bankrupting the city. He was not. We're not any worse off than we were the mayor before that, and we're not any worse off now with the current mayor. So hopefully people have that understood. So that's why then we met. We gave raises to the non-bargaining unit. We have various people within that at different levels of responsibility and at different performance levels, and so that's reflected here. Some of the problems that we've dealt with that have not gone away at this point yet, we have addressed, and so that's where we're coming from with this recommendation.
All that sounds pretty good, Bob. You know, all I know is people addressed me that we told them their taxes are going to go up way over $100, and now we're giving out wage increases. Now this is what two things that they're looking at. You can sit there and justify it all you want, but it costs me $100 extra in my tax money, and then I turn around and see somebody giving out raises, and then not stopping that project a couple weeks ago that they could very well have saved $600,000. It doesn't make me feel like everybody's heart is in saving us any money. You see where I'm coming from?
Well, I understand that. I don't think our...
That's the only point I got.
Nope, I don't think our city employees should bear...
Well, I don't think they... I think what happened, when I was suggesting, is just a wage freeze for like a year. You know? I'm not talking about never giving them a raise.
A question I would have, for 20 years we've been saving money by not doing streets and sidewalks.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that money we saved?
That's a good question.
That's a good question, because now if this had been done the last 20 years, it wouldn't cost as much as it's cost us now, so.
Well, you know,
we
you're
are
talking...
paying for what didn't get done, too.
You're talking about, Bob talked about being aggressive, and I agree, we have been a little aggressive. And I was all for the streets, and I still am for fixing the streets up. But I wasn't really in favor of fixing up as many, I guess, as what turned out to be. But I thought at the time, you know, maybe too many's better than none. We haven't done anything other than 6th Avenue in 15 years. Other than 6th Avenue, 6th Avenue, 15 years, we haven't replaced anything. So, like you said, where did that money go? It went, as far as I'm concerned, it went to a lot of programs out there. You know that you know.
We're trying to catch up for what wasn't.
Right, I understand what we're doing. I understand what we're doing, and it's just it's a poor situation, Don.
Yeah.
It's a very poor situation.
Well, one thing, though, to clarify here, if we'd have done those streets 10, 15 years ago, we would still had to do debt levy. So that money is in the taxpayer's pocket because they didn't pay taxes. We didn't run up any debt to fix those, so that money didn't go anywhere, but it stayed in the taxpayer's pocket. So I want to just clarify that we're not talking that we had any money in the budget, and that's what this council had. I'm very proud of it. It had the backbone and the willingness to take heat to put a tax debt levy out there to realize that that's what we have to do. So that money didn't go anywhere, nobody squirreled it away, nobody wasted it. That money was never assessed because we haven't taken on the debt to do those projects. So I just want to clarify that. Nobody's done anything with that money.
With the suggestions from the Finance Committee too, they based it on performance evaluations that were done. And we also need to realize that the employees are the ones that help us save a lot of money on some of our insurances by keeping our levy of our liability and that type of stuff down. So to try to penalize themselves, they had nothing to do with the levy situation, all the special meetings. So trying to penalize all the employees for mistakes the council has maybe made, then I don't know that that's a good thing to do either, so. But you guys have the vote. I have nothing on that part.
I would make the motion to adopt this resolution.
Okay,
I'll second that.
motion by Hill, second by Holland to approve the resolution. Roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Dallenbach,
Yes.
Holland,
Yes.
Vaughn,
No.
Hill.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on my thing is the library board appointments, and I have two of them that's on your Word doc. The supervisors did meet this morning and approved Ben Lang as, to be reappointed to the library board as the non-resident person. And, the other one is, let me get her name up here, Melinda Engelbrecht has agreed to stay another 4 years on the library board. So those are the two I'm putting before you to approve onto the library board. Need a
Okay,
motion to
Also
adopt
moved.
that resolution. Motion by Brown, seconded by Dallenbach. Roll call, please.
Grover,
Yes.
Dallenbach,
Yes.
Holland,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion carried.
One thing I would like to say here, I'm glad that if somebody who's on the board was given an opportunity to stay on the board. Sometimes in the past, we've arbitrarily just not even contacted somebody who's been on a board and appointed somebody new, so I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, and Ben was only on to fill a vacancy, so I think he's only been on there a year or two. So I'm sure they both know, and they were waiting to see if you guys approved of that, but they were aware that we were renaming them, so. Next on my agenda is old business, the airport manager and FBO contracts. Motion to adopt a resolution approving the airport manager and FBO contracts between Jonathan Walter, Walter Aviation, and the City of Independence. And this should also be on your Dropbox.
The resolution is on your Dropbox. When I came in this morning, I noticed that you do not have the copy of the airport manager contract, or agreement rather, and the fixed base operator's lease, and so those are in front of you.
It appears the only change in this from what we currently have is we've moved it from 3 years, 3 months to 3 years.
3 years, 3 months down to 3 years, that's correct.
Right.
Is the money the same, Bob?
The money is not the same per the airport committee's recommendation, and I can't give you a date on it, but on the back of the agreement for the airport manager are the minutes from the airport committee going back to, it appears 2013, and it lays out a salary schedule, or a fee schedule for an increase to take place this year of $7,000.
Make a motion to adopt.
I'll second it.
Motion by Holland, second by Brown. Roll call, please.
Dallenbach,
Yes.
Holland,
Yes.
Vaughn,
No.
Hill,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Grover.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Under new business, to set the date of hearing as August 10th, 2015 at 6:30 PM at City Hall Council Chambers for consideration of adopting an ordinance amending City Code Chapter 70, Traffic Code Enforcement Procedures, Section 70.03, Parking Violations, alternate. This is a motion to set the date for that hearing.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, who'd I hear? Grover? Motion by Grover, seconded by? Seconded by Brown. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next on my agenda is setting the date of hearing as August 10th, 2015 at 6:35 PM at City Hall Council Chambers for consideration adopting a resolution approving a home occupation permit for Kate Barloon. And I don't believe there was any attachments to that, so I'm not sure what that
Yeah,
is.
what's her, what is she doing?
I don't have that.
We-
This was just to set the date for the hearing.
Yeah.
I'll have to forward that to you. I don't have any other information at this point.
You'll have it by August 10th or before August 10th when you get your next agenda, I'm assuming, because it'll have to be part of that agenda. We found.
We're not impeding her
What?
retail or wholesale or whatever process here. Her being in business by,
She was, she did childcare out of her home before and had a home occupation before, but I'm assuming she might have let that drop, so I don't know what this would be for.
okay.
Last thing I knew, she was working for Print Express, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I just need a motion to set the hearing for that date. If you
You
want to
got it.
make that motion. Motion by Vaughn, seconded by Dallenbach. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
I need to take us back to old business. We approved the airport manager agreement, but we also have the fixed-based operator's lease that should have its own motion to approve.
Oh, I thought they were all in one thing. My thing
they-
reads them both.
Yeah,
They
Motion
are
up
two
res-
separate documents. I think we should have two separate approvals because they are not the same document.
One's a lease and one's a FBO.
Oh, so we approve the manager. Next, we need the FBO. Is what you want to do? You want a second vote on that?
Yes, please. On the
Okay.
fixed-based operator's lease.
Okay.
I'll make a motion on that lease.
Motion by
second it.
Grover, seconded by Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We-
Well, roll call.
We need a roll call on
You
that.
need a roll call.
Roll call on that? Okay. Did I ask for a roll call on the last one? I'm not sure.
Holland?
Okay.
yes.
Vaughn?
No.
Hill?
Yes, we did.
Brown?
Yes.
Grover?
Yes.
Dallenbach?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. Thank you. Anything else? Then I can move forward. And my next thing on is our reports. Council committees, I don't know if there's any committees that have any reports. If not, we'll move to,
About our map that we went through.
Oh, we got the
We had
map.
to approve that.
Don't we have the map?
that's not even on the agenda.
I was looking
It's under
for it.
council members for some reason.
Yes.
Seriously.
Seems like the right place
What
for it.
now?
Yeah, for the ATV. Where is it on there?
Under
It's
council
under
members.
council members.
Yeah.
It's on it's the last document under council members.
It is. What's it doing there?
It seemed like a good spot.
Okay,
for it.
under council members, we have to, we had an ATV, we were here the last time, and we had an agreement, or they did a map, and I'm sure everybody got a copy of that. Is that on your Dropbox? Is the
Yes,
map
it was.
itself? Okay. Was there any questions in regards to that?
The only question I had on it, it comes on from 12th Street to 12th Street. When you're crossing 150, you're actually not going to be crossing it in the strictest sense of the word. You're going to be driving on it for like 50 feet. Unless you do a diagonal, which would not be cool.
We chose that route because it was, even though you've got a little 50-foot jog, it still takes people out of residential, and it's the most direct route to go.
That's fine. I'm only concerned that the state of Iowa says you can't drive on state Iowa roads, and I'm not trying to be that nitpicky about this, but I'm just, hopefully the Iowa has been, we've consulted.
The question came up if, you know, with this map, we'll send it to DOT, we'll inform them, we'll talk to them about
Okay,
that.
okay.
Specifically, if they won't allow that, then we have to revisit that piece, but at this point, the intent is to talk to DOT, make them aware of it.
No, I understand, yeah, I definitely understand the convenience of it. I'm just concerned that you're gonna be doing you'll be on that road for about 50 or 60 feet or whatever it is.
Right.
Do we need to vote, though, to accept this map?
You did by virtue of your resolution at the last meeting.
At the last meeting, so this is just as
information.
information, okay, okay.
Yeah,
I
we-
know we
would
have
like to
ATV
thank,
people here, if they're.
think Lee, I thought I saw him
He
coming
was
in.
here.
You were?
He
Oh,
had to
okay.
leave. I thank him. He did a ton of work on putting this map together. And one thing also, the ATV people have indicated they will put the signage up, and I mean, they're going to be doing before taking it to Al and to Tim for approval, but going to be doing quite a bit of work on getting this all set up. So, thank you.
That is your plans? Thank you. Okay. Now I can go to council members. Thank you. I'm gonna start with Holland.
Nothing.
Okay, Vaughn,
Not a thing.
Gil,
Nothing.
Dallenbach, Grover,
I feel as though there was something, but I can't remember it, so nothing.
you'll have to save it for the next meeting?
I think so.
Okay.
Down next time.
Get another bottle of Mountain Dew.
Mr. Brown, did you have
No,
anything?
nothing,
No?
nothing.
Mr. Carter?
Nothing.
Wow, I'm shocked. And he was here early too, you guys.
Yeah, you beat me.
Do you have anything as our secretary tonight? Al?
I only apologize for my casual attire this evening. I was caught up in some things getting ready for you this evening, so I did not get a shirt and tie on.
Well,
That is upsetting.
disturbing
I could,
beyond
I could tell you were disturbed.
I thought we had a new guy on board tonight or
I was
something.
doing laundry, so.
Well, Carter, I thought, was trying to set an example tonight there.
I'm embarrassed.
Luke has embarrassed him too.
What is the thing
So
for the?
you did
department?
survive Ragbri?
Yes, yes.
Did you go on Ragbri?
Yeah. It was my 14th year in a row with one of my daughters, so probably the last one with a daughter though, so I'll have to adopt.
I drove the
That
water
doesn't
truck.
sound right, does it? So I might just have to go alone. There's some years in the future.
Just compared to some town.
Okay, department heads. Doug, did you have something with the fire department report or monthly alarms or anything?
No, it didn't have anything to do with the fire department.
Oh, okay.
Second thought, I think I'll just keep it to myself.
Did you want to go over,
Oh,
because we
boy.
have on our Dropbox the monthly alarms. Was there anything on that that we needed to discuss, or just for information purposes? Was that report just for information? It's on here? We have on our Dropbox, it says Independence Fire Department monthly alarms. And you haven't seen that?
That's an information.
And so it's just.
I turned it in.
Oh, okay, so it's just on there for information, okay. Trying to see what else is in there. Fire department minutes, ATV route,
That's probably all the reports.
okay. Mr. Donnelly, I see you back there, I can actually see you tonight. Okay, I think Laura's missing, she's on vacation. Randy, did you have anything?
Just one thing. Of course, our K-9 program is progressing, and just wanted to advise the council, Officer Cass was going to be here tonight, but he got called away to investigate an assault situation, so he's busy with that, priorities. But anyway, just wanted to announce to the council that over the past month and a half or whatever, he has received $11,000 in donations for the K-9. We still individual, I should say, the corporation, which expressed a $10,000 match, is still on board. And they say, we are going to honor that match. So, currently we will have in place a little over $21,000 towards the K-9 program. I do want to emphasize, because I have talked to a few people and say, where are you getting all this money? Is it going to be, there is no tax dollars involved here. This is strictly from, community individuals, companies, corporations, businesses, that, we have spoken to in regards to this, and they just feel that there's a need, and they feel compelled to donate to that need, so, no tax dollars whatsoever, none.
In the future, still be
Pardon?
by donation each year afterwards?
donations.
As always gonna be, okay.
Strictly donations.
Is
no
this
tax dollars
something that
involved.
then will be, once you have enough money collected, then this will come up on one of our council meetings to
Yes.
finalize and
Yes,
approve or
Officer Cass
whatever?
will give a presentation as far
Okay.
as the future plans. We have contacted a nationally renowned company that deals with the training as well as the providing of the actual K-9 as well as all the training, and everything's provided. But Officer Cass will be here with a presentation.
Are your pledges in writing?
Yes,
To the
they
point,
are
so,
signed. And
okay.
we have actually received, we're already in receipt of just over $11,000.
Okay, very good.
So, and the $10,000 match is still there. Yes, we are committed to that, absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
very good, thank you. I'm not missing anybody else from staff? We need to maybe, can I address this online? Okay, I just want a reminder, in case the council wasn't aware of it, or you should have seen it by now, that we do have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock here at the chambers for new business. Everybody aware of that? Is everybody gonna be able to be here? You weren't aware of it? Or you're not gonna be here?
Both.
Okay, Mr. Grover, are you gonna be able to make the 8 o'clock meeting tomorrow morning?
Pending my alarm clock wakes me up.
I can call you if you'd like.
By all means, feel free.
So I'll have to set mine for
And
about
these two
6:30 to get here by 8. Is that okay if I call you then?
I've got a friend calling me in the morning anyways to let me know if his girlfriend's coming back from Singapore, so.
I think mine would be a better phone call. I don't know if I have your number. Are you
It's
gonna
on
be
the
able to be
website.
here tomorrow?
I'll be here.
Will you?
8 o'clock.
And Al will be, you gonna be here? Are you gonna be here? Okay, I'm sure Mike's not back tomorrow morning, okay. But that still gives us a quorum.
You making the coffee, Bonnie?
You wouldn't want my coffee. I don't drink it, never made it in my life. So, no. I just know it's hot brown colored water, but I don't drink it, never made it. You wouldn't want mine. So, unless somebody else that has talent in that area, you will not have coffee. You better stop and get it on your way here.
Just a question, maybe for the viewers, will this be televised tomorrow morning at 8?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay. I didn't know that answer. Thank you. And you're gonna be here? Okay.
So be sure and wear your tie, Al.
Yes, sir.
No
You gonna-
casual.
Are you gonna be here, Bonnie?
Yes. I won't guarantee my eyes are open, and I'm not sure what my attire will be that early in the morning. My hair appointment is not until 9:30, so you're off the hook on that one. I thought it was at 8 o'clock, and was not happy on that, but, okay, I have nothing else to say, so if I could have a motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Motion by Grover, second by Dallenbach. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion